Hey there, film fans. I'm Jeff.
I'm Dave.
And I'm John, and welcome back to The Love of Cinema, a pod in which we'll challenge one another to discuss movies both new and old with a strictly positive critical eye.
That's right, and to avoid lazy negativity, we've decided to make this episode a drinking game.
Yes, none of the other 250, just this one.
Just this one.
So anytime we say anything negative at all about this film, about each other, about how Dave has a broken cigarette lighter for an intellect, you're going to hear this sound. That sound means we're taking a drink, and we hope you drink along with us.
So, pour yourselves a glass. We're going back to the 40s. That is a really good insult, isn't it? Broken cigarette lighter for intellect.
Cheers.
Cheers, bitches. Don't forget about when women used to get into electric closets. What the fuck is that? Do you remember that line?
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, I was like, what the hell is she
There
talking
were so many.
about?
Those
Yeah.
things from the
Oh, that's
Stepford
good.
Wives or something? Like,
And an educated man was just an interesting mixture of poetry and meanness.
Oh,
All right, people,
back in
are.
the day.
I just got an
We're gonna
image
talk
of like
about-
you come in, your Roomba's plugged into the wall, your wife's plugged into the wall. It's like,
Your wife's like, all right, we guys are talking about the year 1940. The random year generator spun 1940. So we have decided to talk about none other than The Shop Around the Corner, which, for your reference point, is the basis for the musical She Loves Me, the movie You've Got Mail. There's another Judy Garland musical in 1949 that has some weird-ass name. But anyway, it's The Shop Around the Corner, simple love story, pen pals that don't realize that
mysterious
they
love
hate
story.
each other in real life.
Why
but
is
they
it
love
called
each
The Shop
other.
Around the Corner?
Yeah, is there another shop?
They never go
They
around
ne-
the corner.
I don't know. Is there some
Because this story,
the original?
it's happening everywhere. It's the shop around your corner. It's the,
Oh, that's good, John. That's good.
right?
The original name for this was Perfumerie, which is actually the English version, was called Perfumerie, but not the Hungarian version, which is the play by Miklos Laszlo, who, by the way,
And so-
died in
so the-
Astoria, Queens, where we all lived.
Wow. So
I'm
the
still
play's
there.
title was The Shop Around the Corner?
No, it was Perfumerie, but yeah, 'cause
It
it's
was
Hungarian.
Perfumery. Okay.
I mean,
Okay,
unless
good.
Perfumerie means shop around the corner and not perfumery, and
Sure, yeah.
But this is a Jimmy
Beautiful.
Stewart movie from 1940, which also features the Wizard of Oz, who apparently was
And-
a legend.
Yeah, dude. I mean, I get it. We'll talk about him, but good God, he was great.
So we're going to that's going to be our featured conversation, but we're going to set up the year, give you some context of what else was going on, and we'll tease it right now by saying we really thought about doing Rebecca, the Hitchcock film, by the way, which is the only Hitchcock film to ever win Best Picture, was Rebecca. And you cannot watch this unless you have the physical media catalog of our sister podcast, Matt and Mark, or the Criterion truck or van, which is around New York City.
Yeah.
And I missed it. I was there, and like a day later, it was exactly where I was in Lincoln Center. I was pissed. I want to go in there, and
Oh,
I
cool.
would have
They have a
said, like, I
van?
would like Rebecca, please.
Yeah, they have a van that goes
Yeah.
around. It's like the library on wheels.
Dude, I didn't know that. That's awesome. That's cool.
Yeah.
Isn't that
I
cool?
didn't realize that.
I'd be surprised
Yeah.
if there wasn't one in. Yeah, I don't know if it's New York Film Fest, the NYFF or not. Maybe that's what it
Yeah,
is.
maybe.
All right. But first, we got a couple mini reviews. One mini review. We got some gripes. So we're going to get drinking. So if you need to get to your shop around the corner content, please check the show notes, skip ahead, but stick around. Stick around. Maybe learn something about 1940, about all the research I did while watching football in 20 minutes today, and our mini review about an amazing movie that's in the title. John, you want to shout our sponsors out?
Yes, I do. We have two. One of them is a beer making fanatic named Carlos Barroso. His handle is cbarroso.beer. You can find that link in the show notes. Go there, like and love all of his beer making shenanigans. We also have a music artist in residence, very talented individual that goes by the name Dasein, Dasein. You can find their music available on any and all of the usual music streaming platforms. So follow our show notes or just go there on your own and you're welcome. Pretty fucking great shit.
Nice.
I actually,
Dave, anything you
I
wanna
was in a lift the other day and I heard a Pandora station. Yeah, Pandora going. There's a Pandora station that would have been perfect for some of those tracks.
Ooh,
Actually, so,
yeah,
yeah.
that'd be great. Come on, Pandora, pick it up.
Yeah, what the hell? All
That'd be
right.
great.
So
Just
I
throwing
have
that
a
out in the
mini
universe.
review. So
Sure.
I'll do
Yeah,
my
you
mini
can-
review, and
yeah,
then
go.
hopefully we have some gripes going on. But you guys ready for my mini
Oh
review?
boy, do I!
Okay.
Okay.
All right, mini review first. You ready?
Yeah.
So I saw Saturday Night.
I
which
so
came
want to
out
see this. I so want to see
past
this.
weekend, and I had a friend of mine, Carl, shout out. He was like, I really want to see this in Dolby the night it comes out, and there's something to be said for going when there's energy in the theater, because this is definitely going to watch well at home. It is going to be great at home. It is a rewatchable movie for sure, but he really wanted to see it in Dolby Cinema. And guys, John Baptiste did the score, and I highly recommend seeing this movie in a place with great sound. Dolby would be ideal. It's not
Wow.
IMAX, but anywhere in the cinema. It is raucous. It is about the first episode of Saturday Night Live. I'm sure it bends the truth a little bit here and there, but it is essentially in real time.
I'm sure
the
everyone's
movie
on so many
starts-
drugs they don't know what the truth is anymore.
Well, go ahead and watch the movie, and I bet you'll understand that to be true. But yeah, in theory, it's in real time. So it starts at 10 p.m. and ends at 11:30, 11:35 p.m. of the night of the first ever episode, which almost didn't make it to air. The lead of this movie is Gabrielle LaBelle, who you may know. He plays Lorne Michaels. You may know him from playing Steven Spielberg in The Fabelmans. So what a way to just jumpstart your career by playing two legends. It is co-written and singularly directed by Jason Reitman. Of course.
All right.
He wrote this movie with Gil Kenan. And I'll just say it's so fun. It's so great. And my overall takeaway is it made me nostalgic for movies, but in a very present way. One of my favorite quotes is, "You're always making movies for the time they come out in." Right? So, you are always making it for today's audiences, even if you make something from the past, which is not to say you have to modernize anything, but you can interpret that as you will. This movie is not nasty or sloppy or cut poorly or like random, like maybe like if they were really trying to emulate art house cinema of 1975, it would be. There is a cleanliness to like the framing, but it is a fucking messy frame in every single frame. Lights are falling. There are fires. There are a dozen cast members or more in the background of every single frame who are principal cast members. The guy who plays Chevy Chase is just wandering around. The guy who plays Andy Kaufman is wandering around. It is so messy and yet so clean at the same time. And I think that is the brilliance of it. But it really inspired me. It really made me remember the days of when the actors were all, you never knew if they were acting or not. It's just how, it's like they were just living the job. They were living on set. The cast, every single person is great. They are not necessarily doing an A to A imitation, but once you get, oh, this is his Chevy Chase, then all of a sudden he's Chevy Chase, and there's no doubt about it. Once you realize that the guy who plays Dan Aykroyd doesn't really look like Dan Aykroyd, but he has the brains and the wit and the speed, you're like, this is Dan Aykroyd. The Gilda Radner and Jane Curtin, I mean, it's like, even Carl didn't know who one of them was and was totally fine. So I have like very few gripes. I think it's very rewatchable. I think it's fun. I don't know if it's going to change anybody's lives, but it certainly was a thrill ride. A lot of drugs, a lot of cocaine. I think the best actor, like especially if you do incorporate the fact that they are playing real people, is definitely the guy who plays John
Belushi?
Jesus Christ, why isn't he at the top? Yeah, the guy who plays John Belushi. It's like it's stunning how similar he is.
Wow.
And he plays up like that he's trying to be Brando, but he's also on like a ton of cocaine. I think the other stand-up performers are, well, Cousin Greg. Cousin Greg plays both Andy
Really?
Kaufman and Jim Henson. And he's really funny. The guy, he does a perfect Billy Crystal voice, but also Willem Dafoe plays like a de facto villain. He's the talent scout for NBC, but he's ultimately the one who gets to decide if the show isn't going to go to air. And if it doesn't go to air, they'll cut to a Johnny Carson rerun. So anyway, I won't yap about it too much other than to say it's really fucking fun. It's messy, it's loud, but it is beautiful. And it's just an exciting movie. And it's really fun. And honestly, I tried to watch the first ever episode of SNL afterwards, and it's not that great of an episode. There's some funny sketches in it, but I was like, I would rather rewatch this movie than watch the first episode of SNL. So there you go.
Nice, dude.
That's
Oh,
great.
man. I
I'm
forgot it came out
going
this
to
weekend.
squeeze that in this week.
Yeah, that
So
sounds fun. Definitely, I'm going to go see that.
It says it's an hour and 49, but it cooked. It really didn't feel like it. But also, it's funny when you do the frames when it's like 11:14 and then it changes to 11:15. Like usually you do credits to like jump. It literally would just go to, so like a crazy scene, something's on fire, the set is falling apart, actors are quitting, and then it goes and it just changes 1 minute and then it goes back into the movie. It's fun. It's cool.
Oh, interesting. Okay. Oh, cool. I'm curious to see what you mean by that.
And Baptiste is in the movie playing Billy Preston, who was the first ever musical guest. Yeah. Anyway, it's great.
Nice. Very cool.
Cool.
Yeah. I didn't see anything else. Dave, what'd you see?
I didn't get to see anything this week. I had like family things going on and job things going on, and I tried to get to. I was actually going to try and squeeze Saturday night and Megalopolis in this weekend, but I got to none of them.
Nice.
All right.
Yeah, me
All
neither.
good.
All right.
Here we
Let's
go.
hear your gripes, gentlemen.
Dave,
Sure, I'll go
set
first.
the 1 minute gripe timer. Buzz free. Let's go.
All right. So I had to go to a family wedding this weekend. So I booked a car about a month ago, and I turn up at Thrifty. Yeah, I'm naming you motherfuckers. And I go in, and all's well. Some other people are having some trouble with it getting their cars. I walk up, I hand them my license, my passport, because, you know, thanks to fucking terrorists, foreigners have to give their passport as well. And so I handed my license, and they've got these new boxes, and she puts it in the box. I'm like, okay. And then it just all lights up red. She's like, your license has been rejected. I'm like, what? Like, I rented a car off these guys a month ago. And she tried again. It's like, your license has been rejected. You can't, I can't rent you the car. So we ended up having to scramble and jump on a fucking train for 2.5 hours to get to where we were going and everything, because these guys just wouldn't rent us the car. And I'm thinking, what about all the poor motherfuckers who are getting off their plane from Australia that night and are like going to turn up and try and rent a car, and they're fucked because somebody fucked up this little box that they put in.
Yeah.
Hate it. If you're gonna implement something, test it and make sure it fucking works.
Why didn't you just rent it with Teresa's information?
Because the booking was in my name.
Dave, you know you can
and
use my
assholes.
car,
Couldn't
right?
just-
And like I want you to use it so I don't have to deal with parking. But I know we don't. I know you
It
live
never
in different
occurred to me.
places. You used my car before.
No, I know, but I forgot.
Oh, cars.
Yeah, what's
I
worse,
was
coming into Manhattan to
raged.
get my car or going to Thrifty?
Yeah. Oh, this
Although you only
story
like
continues.
e-cars.
I'll do another bit in a minute.
But you only get
Oh, no.
get electronically powered vehicles though.
Yeah.
Maybe that's what it is. Or maybe some executive at AMC has some friends at Thrifty and they've heard your rants about it.
Yeah.
We found him.
Actually, it was really funny.
Ruin
in
your
my
life
theater,
one little insignificance at a time.
when I went to Saturday night at 9:30 at night on a Thursday, it said the Wild Robot on the screen. And I was like, shit, is this the Wild Robot? I really thought this was in Dolby. And I walk in and the Joker trailer was going on. And I was like,
This is not the Wild Robot.
either this is the right movie or we are fucking up these kids that are trying to see the Wild Robot.
Well, that happened with Sausage Party.
What
Right?
happened?
They moved theaters, and people who'd bought their tickets. This was years ago when Sausage Party came out.
Oh my God.
They moved theaters and didn't tell anyone, and they turned up with a ticket and just walked in to the theater. It said on the ticket, and yeah, the trailer for Sausage Party starts playing because it was, I can't remember what was
Wow.
in there, but it was R-rated. And that's the
Okay,
one.
okay.
That's the one where they just pick up the potato, and he's like, "Oh, me fucking skin!" at the beginning of it. So everybody's kids got a
Definitely.
really good
Just
education. that
right
day.
away, the parents are like, "Well,
Yeah.
I know Bad Santa definitely had a lot of these stories, and you always wonder if the person selling the tickets was like, "I'm not going to tell them."
Yeah.
Yeah, this is just too funny.
Yeah.
It's like it's
They have to
rated
entertain
R.
themselves
Fuck
somehow.
it, you did it to yourselves.
Yeah. You take your kid to see it anyway. Fuck you.
John, anything you want to say?
Nah.
Well, we did lose. We lost 2 legends this week. So the Dame passed
Three.
away. The Dame Maggie Smith, and then we just found out today that Chris Christopherson has just passed away.
Mhm. And John
Oh.
Ashton
Stars
as well
And John Ashton.
from Beverly Hills Cop.
Damn,
Damn.
I know. We
Wow.
just saw him.
Wow.
we did just see
That's
him.
sad.
Shit.
Yeah.
It's going to be a. There always are, but it'll be a tough in memoriam.
Mm-hmm.
Lost a bunch
Mhm.
of people. this year.
Yeah. Try not to fuck it up this time.
Oh, man.
It's impossible. They're gonna fuck it up. They're gonna do it. People are gonna be pissed. All right, my gripe's gonna be short. I'll keep it 30 seconds.
Boom.
Don't tell me to tap when it's a hold. Don't do it. Like every single time I go to pay with my credit card, it says like just tap here, and then I try to tap, and then it makes some sound. I'm like, no, you gotta hold it, and I'm like, it doesn't say hold. It says tap. Also, don't talk to me like I'm a child. These people know. They're like, you gotta hold it, and it's like, I don't come here every day. I don't know how your fucking reader works. And it says tap. It says tap. I should be able to just like walk by and not even lose my stride and be able to tap if it says tap. But no, I got to hold in place for 5 seconds and it still doesn't. No. And then don't. But the worst is the smug ass looks they give me when they're sitting like, you got to hold it. And it's like, don't tell me this as if I need to know this. Stop.
You should already know. There's a whole song about it. You got to know when to hold them.
There he is. Get those drinks up. All right, that's it. Okay.
Can I continue my story for a second? For like 60 seconds?
Oh, sure. Yeah.
So
sure.
get to the wedding and all's well. I'm like, cool, I don't have a car. I'll get hammered. So I did. And boy, am I feeling it today. You might notice I'm looking a little subdued. And so, you know,
it's so different.
When you're that far down in Jersey, the trains are like at 1-2 hours apart. So we turned up for this train at 11:30. And like we're sitting on the platform waiting for it to turn up, fucking shivering. And you get on the train, and the train ride is 2.5 hours to get back up. So we're 2.5 hours on the train. Of course, my wife needs to go to the bathroom because she needs to go to the bathroom at 15 minutes into any trip. So she gets up, goes looking for the bathroom. There's no bathroom on this train.
What?
So we hold it. Everybody's holding it. We've got our legs crossed coming in the city. We get off the train. We go upstairs. And by this point, it's like 1 o'clock or something at Penn Station.
Oh, sure.
And they've locked all the fucking bathrooms.
Yeah, the homeless, yeah.
What motherfucker locks all the bathrooms after a 2.5 hour fucking train ride that they know is coming?
Wow.
Assholes.
God, that's awful.
God.
Yeah.
No, Penn Station does this all the time.
And then they wonder why I piss in the gutter.
Yeah, definitely. I was gonna say, I've definitely pissed on a train, on a train waiting platform once in my life.
Oh yeah,
Good
oh
God.
yeah. That's so crazy. Usually it's like the first car and the last car or something have it. That's tough.
Yeah, no.
Stuff.
Apparently she got 2 cars either direction, and the doors were just locked. You couldn't go any further.
I was on a party bus one time that had 2 stripper poles in it. We were just a bunch of friends, but we did use the stripper poles, mostly the men. Not very fun. And then the toilet in the bus overflowed and started spilling out all over the floor of the stripper
Oh yeah,
poles.
I've seen that happen.
They did not give us a discount.
Wow.
All right. Are you two ready to talk about the film year 1940? Some facts around the world?
Let's get into it.
And then get into it?
Let's do it.
1940. Okay, the box office. I got to go with 2 possible answers again this year because, as we always talk about this far back in time, the domestic receipts are the only one they keep, and even they are estimates. So I will accept 2 answers, even though it looks like, by all accounts, 1 is true.
Damn.
What was the highest grossing movie of 1940?
I would say Wizard of Oz.
That came out in 1939, so
Cool.
I'm going to go ahead and
was
say
it?
that is not it.
Cool. So it was. Oh man, I'm leaning towards one of the Disney releases, either Fantasia or Pinocchio, or The Great Dictator.
Okay, these are great. John, you did it again. You got great guesses. Technically, the correct answer, according to, this is actually Wikipedia. I forget where, I looked up a whole bunch of places and whatever. According to Wikipedia, the number 1 answer is actually Boomtown, the 1940 American Western film starring Clark Gable, Spencer Tracy, Claudette Colbert, Hedy Lamarr, and, get this,
Almighty.
a guy named Chill Wills, which is an awesome name. Directed by Jack Conway. It's about
Steal that
Big
if I get
John
famous.
McMasters and Square John Shorty Sand. They're down on their luck oil wildcatters who join forces. With enough money, they steal drilling equipment from a skeptical, yada, yada, yada.
Launch
Clark
into space
Gable's
and try
father,
to destroy the asteroid that's coming for Earth.
There's legitimacy here, though, because Clark Gable's father, William Gable, was an oil well driller. And as a teenager, Clark Gable himself worked for his father in Oklahoma on an oil rig. So he's familiar with the subject of the film, and there was authenticity to it. So Boomtown, according to Wikipedia, is your number 1 highest grossing movie of the year. However, John, according to them, The Great Dictator is number 2. And according to, is this box office? No, the numbers, Pinocchio is the number 1 movie, but it counts re-releases. So at first, Pinocchio was not an immediate success, but over time, it would go on. And Fantasia would be number 2, if you count re-releases.
Is that,
and Boomtown
is that
would
the
then
same
be
one they
number 3.
re-released in the 70s, or is that another? Is there a third Fantasia that I don't know about?
There's a Fantasia 2000. I don't know if
This is
there's
2.
Yeah.
They re-released it. They must have.
Yeah, because in the 70s I saw it, and that big fucking mountain bat demon thing scared the fuck out of me as a kid.
Oh, it's the shit. Okay.
Oh yeah,
Okay.
dude.
So anyway, I'm gonna
What
go
is the
back to
name of that
Wikipedia.
what is the music for that, Jeff? What is the music that's playing? Dun, 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 dun.
I forget. I don't
No,
know.
that was it.
Damn it! What is it?
That was the music.
I know that's it. I'm just trying to think of the name of the
What is
the
it?
name of that one.
Well, you look it up while I read the rest of the list. So Boomtown, Great Dictator. Back to Wikipedia. Number 3 is Rebecca. These are all in the $3 to $3.5 million range domestically. Northwest Mounted Police, the Paramount release, was number 4. Strike Up the Band is number 5. I feel like they've done different versions of Strike Up the Band since. And to round out the top 5, we have Northwest Passage, Andy Hardy Meets Debutante, The Fighting 69th, which sounds like it's not probably what
Sounds
that
like a
is.
party I went to.
Santa Fe Trail, and Kitty Foyle, the RKO picture, comes in at number 10. I buzz you twice, Dave. Fuck you. Okay, a couple film news that happened this year. The premiere of Fantasia was at the Broadway Theater in New York City, the first film to be released using a multi-channel sound format. The film also marks the first use of the click track while recording the soundtrack. Guess what, guys? A couple characters that you may have heard of came out this year. That's right. Bugs Bunny made his official debut in the animated cartoon A Wild Hare. That was in July.
Wow.
Woody Woodpecker makes his debut in the Andy Panda cartoon Knock Knock. Tom and Jerry make their debut in the animated cartoon Puss Gets the Boot. Puss Gets the Boot. And in December,
Nobody touch it.
This isn't right.
Nobody touch it.
Well, I put this in a different part, but the first ever Superman comic strip came out here in 1940, and on the cover, he punches Hitler across the face. In 1940, the first ever cover.
Forever
of Superman.
cementing it's okay to punch Nazis.
That's right. Yep, that's okay.
Oh my God, that's so good. That's so
Another
funny.
fun piece of film news is the release of the Thief of Baghdad. Was a British film that was released, pioneering the use of chroma key effects. To the Oscars, Rebecca received 11 nominations. As I said before, was the only Hitchcock Best Picture winner. And it only won one other award, which was Best Cinematography, which is the rarity for something to win Best Picture, but not win director, writing, editing, or any of the acting awards. David O. Selznick produced Rebecca, but he also produced Gone with the Wind. So that's 2 Best Picture wins in a row for the famed producer, David O. Selznick. Walter Brennan would win his supporting actor performance in The Westerner, which is his 3rd supporting actor Oscar. Only other males with 3 Oscars are Jack Nicholson and Daniel Day-Lewis, but he was the first to win more than 2. And When You Wish Upon a Star would be the Best Song winner and would become the Disney theme song. That was from Pinocchio. Couple things. You got The Great McGinty won original screenplay. Philadelphia Story would win Best Screenplay, and then Best Picture Rebecca. Director would be John Ford for The Grapes of Wrath was in this year. Jimmy Stewart would actually win his Oscar for The Philadelphia Story, not for our film, Shop Around the Corner. Ginger Rogers would win for Kitty Foyle. Walter Brennan and Jane Darwell would win for The Grapes of Wrath as well. Any other movies you want to shout out before I give you some world events?
His Girl Friday. Pretty popular one from this High Sierra. Definitely throw that one out there too. I wonder if The Mark of Zorro was the first time Zorro hit the big screen. I bet not, but maybe. Foreign Correspondent.
It might have been the first time he hit in a feature, because I think they did serials.
Pride and Prejudice. That's probably worth shouting out. They Drive by Night. That's a popular one. Northwest Passage. Gaslight, which we talked about before.
We did talk about Gaslight.
And
no, we didn't.
There was one more that I just... We didn't?
Dave, shut up. John got cut. John got cut. Fuck you, John. You got a drink. You got cut. Dave.
Really good. That's funny. And that's it. I'll chill right there. Really good year. 2 crazy fucking years in a row. 39 and 40. Pretty nuts.
Angela Lansbury was nominated for Gaslight, right?
Yes, I think so.
I think she just passed away. So here we are. We're talking about 84 years ago, and she was nominated for an Oscar, and she just passed away a couple years ago. Okay. Couple other world events here. Just as a reminder, so yeah, World War II basically started in 1939, and then a lot of the invasions, heading out in Paris and Britain started in 1940 here. Just a reminder to filmmakers, this is 84 years ago, so you don't need to make your World War II movie, all right? There are plenty of World War II movies out there to enjoy. I believe this is a previous gripe of mine. We have plenty of World War II movies, something to think about. Okay. The Battle of Dunkirk.
I can't wait to make a World War II movie.
Yeah, that is
dude.
There's no excuse to have another war, so we can make a movie about that one either.
You're going to show me the
Honestly,
script, and you're going to be like, I need a cynic to look at this. Okay.
Yeah,
The Battle of
I'm gonna need
Dunkirk
you to approve.
was a huge military loss for the Allies. However, the evacuation or miracle of Dunkirk was a huge success. Great Britain begins food rationing during World War II. Selective Training and Service Act signed into law as first peacetime military draft in the United States history. So even though we were not technically at war, we did have a peacetime draft.
Jesus Christ.
Franklin I don't think we really drafted that many people. I don't think anyway. Franklin Delano Roosevelt wins the election and becomes the United States' first third-term president. Nylon stockings go on sale. The synthetic material called nylon was invented in 1935 by DuPont researcher Wallace Carruthers. And John, we know how much your family loves the DuPonts.
Oh, come on.
Haden McDaniel becomes the first ever African-American actor to win an Academy Award. The first Captain America comic book was published. Superman and Captain America. How crazy is that? The Battle of Britain begins on July 10th with a German Luftwaffe attempting to gain air superiority over the Royal Air Force. Germany starts Blitz of London April 7th with 300 German bombers in the first 57 consecutive nights of bombing.
Jesus.
57 consecutive nights of bombing.
Yeah, that doesn't make you afraid of the dark. Nothing will.
Dude.
Winston Churchill becomes British Prime Minister, and I think I fucked up about Superman. I think it was Captain America that punched the Nazi in the face.
Yeah,
oh my God.
Captain America definitely punched Nazis in the face.
Oh,
that would
my
make
God.
more
Look at
sense.
me.
It was totally the plot. Yeah.
Dave, can you insert Jeff fucked up here into it so I don't have to re-record this?
It wouldn't be the first time I've done this. Yes, sure.
And in the movie,
Damn
he
it!
fights. He's basically a Nazi in the movie. And Hydra is obviously a Nazi stand-in.
Okay.
In the first Captain America, right? The recent one.
Dave, I would love a punch-in where you say Jeff is an idiot here. Okay.
We've actually got a instant film school that pops up under John whenever he makes a really obscure reference to something that explains what it is.
Instant
on
Film
YouTube.
School.
Yeah.
Oh my God, it's so
You're
good.
welcome.
And then
You're
Benjamin O. Davis Sr. becomes the first ever African American general in the United States. A couple things about the cost of living in 1940. The average cost of a new house is $3,000 and $900 to throw on top.
Jeez, I could buy six. I could buy 6 of them right now.
Oh,
So what's that mortgage? That mortgage is like $100 a month, $100 a month or so. Get you that over 30
I'll throw it
years?
in cash.
Average wages per year, $1,725. Average wages per year. Average monthly rent is $30. Cost of a gallon of gas.
That's one night of
How does Los
Grubhub these days.
hold on, let's pause really quickly. Hold on, before you continue. The average cost of a house was $3,000 a year. It was $3,000 total.
Yeah.
The average income was $1,000 a year,
Yeah.
right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Can you imagine if we made $1 million a year now? Because most, so many houses in big cities or apartments are millions of dollars. I mean,
Yeah.
Anyway, sorry, keep going. I could talk about that all day.
Yeah. Yeah. The average cost of a home now is in the hundreds of thousands, but the average wages is not 100,000, right? It would probably be like 300, 250 to 300, and the average wage is like 60,
No
58.
fucking way. Yeah. The average has got to be still below.
Yeah, I
100.
think it's 70. Somewhere around 70,
Yeah.
75.
It's still probably like 5 or 6 to 1 as opposed to 2 to 1. Okay.
Oh, God almighty.
Average cost of a gallon of gas is 11 cents. How does that feel in Los Angeles? Average price
all
of a new
hurts.
car.
Killing me.
A new car is $850. A new car. A radio is $16.95. A battery for torch. It says battery for torch. That's what it says. Battery for torch, 10 cents. A Hoover is $52.
Matches for
I feel like given
torching,
everything we're
2
talking about, a Hoover for $52 is a fucking ripoff.
That's a
I mean,
rip.
do they only have?
No wonder
Do
they
they only have 100 of them?
The car
Campbell's
price
soup.
is crazy too. The car price is almost a third of a house.
Yeah. Yeah.
that's-
Yeah. Campbell's tomato soup is 25 cents for 3 cans.
There we go.
Yeah.
Chewing gum.
Yeah, now we're talking.
That hasn't changed much. Chewing gum, 12 cents for 3. Flour was 25 cents for a 5-pound bag. Fucking quarter for a
We
fucking
were
5-pound
baking.
bag.
Yeah, well, they didn't have
Hey,
cable.
guys.
They had to bake everything.
And you ready? Fresh chickens, 55 cents per pound. That's not chicken breast. Fresh chickens,
Yeah,
55 cents
a
per
whole
pound.
chicken.
Wow, so much chicken.
4 fried
You have
chickens.
to kill
at
it
a
you have to kill it yourself because if it's fresh, I would assume it's either just
I
been.
don't think
Did
so,
they kill
man.
it right there?
I think-
Hey, here's your chicken. Okay.
Yeah, that shit was. Yeah, no, they existed back then. Processed food had not really kicked in yet, but they had fucking grocery stores back then.
God, I
Yeah,
just
like
pulled a
everybody
handbrake
was-
on a really bad joke that would have got me cancelled.
Oh,
why is it-
Dave. Something about I don't even know where to go with it. I have no
Yeah.
idea what it is.
All right,
Do
you
wanna
guys ready to talk
whisper it?
about?
If you whisper it, it doesn't.
Yeah, whisper
count.
it. They don't hear. Yeah, they don't hear it. They don't hear it if you whisper it. Oh, here's the name of the movie. In the Good Old Summertime. That's the Judy Garland Van Johnson movie that's also based on Perfumerie and also The Shop Around the Corner. In the Good Old Summertime, which I don't even know. The Shop Around the Corner takes place at Christmas, so I don't know what the fuck, man. It's like,
Maybe it's Australian.
because it's Australian Christmas?
That
The
happens in
opposite?
summer.
Yeah, sure. Yeah.
All right, you guys ready?
Our summer. Yeah.
All right, you guys ready to
Your
get into
summer.
it?
My summer.
My fucking mic just
Yeah, your
slowly gets
summer.
lower and lower.
Yeah,
Yeah,
My
it,
mic just gets lower
it
and lower.
happens to
throughout
men
this.
your age. Don't worry about it.
Maybe he's nervous.
Oh my God, Dave. Man. God, I hope my students don't listen to this fucking podcast. Here we go.
Keep your mic up all night.
Yeah.
Mike's
Good
higher
morning,
now.
Mr. Limp Dick. Yeah.
Okay, all right. We know what the joke is, Dave. We know
You
the
don't have to be
joke.
so literal. Don't explain your joke. All right, tell me the blurb.
No, that was a
Jeffrey.
follow on.
All right. So here we go. Ernst Lubitsch directs the Sam Raphaelson script. I think he co-wrote it with somebody, but let's give Sam the credit because he also wrote The Jazz Singer. He wrote the play, and he wrote the first ever talkie. How about that?
Kind of a
Ernst Lubitsch
badass,
also
yeah.
did Ninochka the year before, which John really wanted to do when we drew 1939, but we talked about Goodbye, Mr. Chips instead.
True story.
And
True story.
we still stand by it. It was pretty good.
Mhm.
Also,
it's a great movie.
Samson Raphaelson, in one of his plays, Accent on Youth in 1934, it starred Greer Garson of Goodbye, Mr.
Ooh.
Chips fame. How about that, Dave?
All
What?
comes around.
Why am
Fuck
I
you,
singing?
Dave.
She was nominated for 5 Oscars in a row because of Goodbye, Mr. Chips. And it started when she was in her 30s. Now, how fucking awesome is that?
Mm.
Nowadays, if you don't
Pretty
get your
great.
first nom at 20, you're toast.
Yeah.
I saw way too much of Jimmy Stewart's leg in this movie. Oh, sorry. We're going to read the blurb
Oh,
first.
come
and then we're gonna
on,
get
it's
into this.
funny.
Come on. All right. I'm going to read you the IMDb pitch, and then I want to go around the corner and tell each other what we thought, what we felt. No stuffy criticism. Let's shoot from the hip. 2 employees at a gift shop can barely stand each other without realizing that they are falling in love through the post as each other's anonymous pen pal. Shop around the corner. Got to rent it, folks. It's worth the rent. What'd you think? What'd you feel? Dave, John, go ahead.
Who wants to go first?
David,
Okay.
you can go first. Yeah.
I had reservations going into this because it's like a romance from the 40s. I'm not sure why it's set in Budapest, but
The play.
there was just a lot of stuff there, and this thing's fucking delightful.
Yeah,
It's
dude.
just great. Like
Yeah.
you just like sure I don't think it didn't get nominated for any Oscars or anything at all, did it?
Nope.
But
Nope.
No.
it wasn't what this was about. This is just fun and well put together, and it's this simple little film, and it tells you a story, and I honestly really can't fault it.
Yeah. That was short and sweet, and I think I'll follow you up on that. I mean, this was I'm ashamed to say that I think this is my first Ernst Lubitsch film that I've ever seen.
Oh, you never saw
But I've heard
Ninochka?
reference to him. No, but I've heard reference to him so much because he was so popular in America and where he came from, Germany, and within the industry. he kind of was known for having what they call the Lubitsch touch, which is this wonderful little combination, like pre-Billy Wilder, imagine that, of that kind of heart and humor and drama kind of thing. He had a really unique way of putting comedy into situation on the screen. And I think this is just like, as I'm sure a lot of his early movies, you can just see like every fucking inch of it just seems like that is a bullseye. But also what took it up a notch for me was that somebody else, I'm not criticizing anybody specifically, but this kind of movie at this time period could have just been done with less interesting camera work. It could have felt more like a play with wider shots all the time and just pans and establishing, and let's just sit here and let these actors do their thing. It's not that he doesn't have long takes, but his camera moves. His camera moves with actors, and it made it feel. Remember how
one of those I'll talk about later.
Film. Yeah, let's do it. I hate. I can't remember what episode we were talking about this, but it's so easy for plays adapted to film to rely on the mechanism of theater, where it's a dialogue-driven medium, and not really let it transcend into a movie. Let us get in there. Let us feel more of the dream reality that's happening.
We've actually said that in a review statement before. It was blatantly obvious you're watching a play adaptation. So this, this is not the case with this movie, but in other cases, they don't get it right.
And I mean, I'm sure, like a lot of directors back then, I think they relied on these actors got to breathe into these longer takes, and God damn it, it's so pleasing. There's so much humor in the performances, heart. There's also, it does something interesting with the pace, because there are a lot of times where these actors take big beats. It's long. They really take their time to get to something where it's just on the page. It might just be, you might just see beat, or they decide the next line. And good God, he didn't rush them at all, which I was so surprised. I was expecting a little bit more snappy the whole time. And I was so fucking pleasantly surprised and impressed.
Yeah. That was the American style of the time.
Didn't do it.
Yeah.
But this felt like this fucking breathed. So I really can't say enough. And it is almost a single location film, which is like, that's not fucking easy to do. It felt complex with the way it was designed. Obviously, it's a great play. All those adaptations I'm in love with. She Loves Me is one of my favorite musicals. I mean, this, they're working with fantastic subject matter here, but I thought this was a wonderful adaptation. And good God almighty, the dude who plays the wizard, the fortune teller, the guy at the door of Wizard of Oz, the man who plays the owner of the shop in this is fantastic. Everyone is fantastic, but he was so good.
Yeah.
That there was something about him being the center of gravity, everybody working at his store, that made everyone around them so much better. And it made all the stuff that could be fucking cheese at the end of it not cheese at all. It felt so fucking real and high stakes that people, and it turned,
this does get to some points where there's some pretty high stakes, but it doesn't take away from the movie. It's not like it suddenly pulls the rug out from under you and it's deadly serious. Like it deals with something incredibly serious for 2 seconds and then carries on in its lighthearted tone. Jeff.
Well, that's the craziest thing for people who know they love She Loves Me, or they know some of the songs. They don't realize there's a suicide attempt at the end of the first act.
Yeah.
And it's like, people are like, whoa. And then it's like, people know like the song Try Me. And it's like, well, he's hurt because he tried to, and it's like, oh, like, well, it's so crazy that it's a comedy. It's like one of the most delightful musical comedies. And then it has that in it. But back to this, so Frank Morgan, who plays Hugo Matuszek, but also again, the Wizard of Oz and the guy who opens the door. He gets off a Roosevelt vibe, that resonance. And he's a shop owner, which I'm not putting down, but he walks around like he's a duke or like he has that, but he does it with this nice touch where he also wants to be humane and he wants to talk to people, but also maintain that status. And you kind of see his conundrum. He's so transparent and yet at the same time seems to be holding a lot in, obviously leading to that attempt. And then Jimmy Stewart's just the perfect guy for this because he's such a smooth talker. He's so smooth, but he also he's not afraid to be a little bit of an asshole. So I don't know how self-aware he is that he just doesn't read that way. Like people are going to root for an asshole guy. Like a woman would never be able to, although I give Margaret Sullivan some credit because as Clara Novak, she kind of plays, I feel like it was either like femme fatale or ingenue or beauty or, to have that kind of character that Jimmy Stewart and have a foil that was she was playing a lovely person, but you knew that she also was a little conniving and was willing to kind of drill into him a little bit. I just thought it was charming to see people not fight. They weren't being mean to each other, but to be tense with each other in a very unique way that also had wit. You can see Patty Chayefsky probably studied these kinds of scripts before he got his wit. But yeah, at the time, the snappy wit thing where everything moves so fast, you could see this character, and then the guy who plays is it Vada? No, yeah, Vadas, right? Is that his friend? Is the guy with the mustache? Friend? The good friend. Vadas.
Felix, Perovich.
Yeah.
Oh, Vadas is the bad guy.
Yeah, Vadas.
Yes. Perovich.
Yeah.
They're just so fun and so charming. That scene, and I think that line they did take for the other adaptations, where they're like, you'd have to like someone who kind of looks like Miss Novak. And you're like, well, why? And it's like, because it is Miss Novak. Like that kind of like fun. Yeah. It's just so charming and so good. But yeah, just the texture of everything was so wonderful.
Everyone in this had the ability to just drop a one-liner and move on. Like there were mic drops. Yeah. Like there was the scene in the storeroom where she's helping him pack the boxes, and I can't even remember what was said, but I snorted laughter. Like there's just witty shit coming flying left, right, and center. I was not expecting it. It came out of nowhere, and it got me good.
It's a toy. It's not a toy store. It's a shop. It's just a regular old shop. And it is this whole world inside of it. You have the levels when Pepe becomes promoted, and then he's kind of talking down on the guy beneath him, and when Vadas has all the money and he's showing it off. I mean, what a world. And yes, it all takes place inside, and there's no music. And so it's like, how you forget that and looking back, I'm like, holy shit, they really never went outside. They went to the restaurant.
Yeah.
There was like a home, a hospital, but 80% of this was in the shop. And it just didn't feel like it. Whereas like One Night in Miami and some of these other movies that we talked about feel like that. How do they do that?
I'm looking through some of the lines now. Well, doctor, I would say it's a nervous breakdown. What do you think? It appears to be an acute epileptoid manifestation and panphobic melancholiac indication of neuroracemial cordus. Oh, is that more expensive than a nervous breakdown? Just like...
I don't walk like a duck and am bow-legged.
My favorite
now. The end of the movie.
My favorite one was if someone's really your friend, he comes after dinner.
That's true. That's funny.
Yes.
That's a man with a wife and kids.
Oh man.
I love all the people who are psychologically confused. Well, now I'm psychologically confused.
Yeah, how do you feel? Well, I'm psychologically confused, but personally, I feel all right about it. I mean, a lot of that's influence from the play for sure. We should give some credit there. But I mean, there is still an understanding of the way to deliver this kind of tone that is completely through this, a brilliant director like Ernst Lubitsch's, camera and staging. Dave, I want to hear what you're talking about with the way we move camera and stuff, because there were so many times where, as always, back then, there were some like classic like punch-in cuts, which we don't do very much anymore. So I'm not really talking about things that are dated. I'm talking about things that did not need to be done with the way they made movies a lot back then. It was difficult to move a camera back then.
Yeah.
And he clearly was sliding that camera all over that fucking shop. And I was just so impressed by what it did for the actors. What were you going to talk about specifically?
The scene where he gets called in the office and he thinks he's getting a raise. And the camera tracks backwards with him walking towards it and he's adjusting everything. It's the only time they move the camera like that in the whole film, so it really stands out. And I could not, that's the only way you could do that shot. It was perfect. And they didn't overuse it. They used it for that one section.
I think the only push-in, there were close-ups.
Yeah.
But I think the only push-in in the whole movie is when, how do you say the ball center's name? Matsuchek?
Matsuchek.
Yeah.
Matsuchek is when he comes to the shop at the very end of the movie and he looks in through the window and there's a classic push-in on him, and they just don't do anything like that because it can feel too sentimental or indicative whenever you do that stuff. But they had fucking earned the sentimentality there, right? It was just so well justified.
Like,
And
yeah,
then as soon as you're feeling all the feel good things, because he has the conversation with the police officer, and it's like, oh, it's going great, Mister. Very Capra-esque, like, oh, this is perfect. What a happy ending. And then he turns around and he has that hilarious moment with the ladies at the window about the briefcase. Oh,
Yeah.
it sounds like a good deal to me. They're like, well, you should know, you're the fucking owner. And he's like, whoa. So like as soon as you give him a little bit of that heart, make him laugh. It's just good rules of thumb.
Yeah, I mean, it makes you think as well. It was like when he's talking about, women now, they don't want a guy who goes out and parties all the time. They want someone who betters themselves and learns some history and learns that. And I'm like, oh shit, was I supposed to stop partying and improve myself? Because
it's
apparently, yeah, we could talk about that. We could definitely. This has nothing to do with the film, but of course, Def, kind of what you were pointing out earlier, the way he carries himself. This kind of fucking movie makes me kind of like yearn for that era of civility.
Yeah.
Where, and I think it was, their technology was still fairly limited. The fucking Industrial Revolution happened when most of these kids were, like children or born, so they still had to like really how you carry yourself, how you speak. You have to go out into the world and make something of yourself, really. It's just, that alone, I feel like just lent itself so amazingly to the dramatization of life.
Yeah.
Anyone who is writing screenplays right now who comes upon a moment when you say, how am I going to get this character to tell somebody else something? Well, there's a million ways that aren't interesting to do that now.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like,
yeah. And one of them came from this.
There's a whole version of this movie that would happen today that is just through typing on a screen and would not be interesting at all. You know what I mean?
Like, yeah, because they didn't talk about the letters that much in the grand scheme of things. They didn't talk about it so much. Yeah. You've got mail. They talk about it every fucking 3 minutes. There's a letter, but this was just a couple.
Yeah, it was almost just to keep the plot moving a little bit, and like this is still going on. But that's the other thing. Like as far as the writing of this goes, like there's a whole thread for the boss interspersed. So when you first meet him, you get the impression that everyone's a corporate suck up, and he's possibly a bit of a moron, but it's slowly revealed through the course of the movie, and then at that culmination of that thread, that he's found out that his wife's having an affair with someone at the store.
Yeah, he's been suspicious of that the whole time. Yeah,
and then, but they don't feed you any of that until about halfway through the movie, and you suddenly realize why he's been such an asshole for the first 30, 40 minutes. So they just let him be him, and then you're like, oh, that's why this guy's doing this. That's why this. And yeah, and realizing that was a great find for me. I really enjoyed that.
And he's an asshole.
That and the running gag about how everyone just fucking bolted whenever he said, "I want your honest opinion."
That's oh my god!
Just that one guy,
Pirovich, he just literally darts. He runs, and then he's coming downstairs, and then he runs back upstairs when he says that again. But also,
the third time it does it when you just see his feet coming down the stairs, and then they go right back up.
But also, so that guy Felix Bressart, who plays Pirovich, he's so funny too because he has this thing, and this is something that the younger generations get flack for, and I don't want to be too, I don't want to speak on it like too much, but. So the boss is a little bit of an asshole, but rather than sit there, he's an asshole and like they're going to start a revolution or something. He goes, yeah, but it's his shop, like, and that kind of, like people shouldn't get away with stuff, obviously, but he's like, yes, he's being mean, but he has his reasons, and it's his shop. So that's his. You want your own shop, you go do your thing. So I think it was cool to see some of the people who are afraid of him have that reverie, like to respect that. The way things are, the respect, just to have respect for status and clout. But also back to him, he's definitely my standout in the movie. Pirovich again, the guy with the mustache with the 2 kids at home, the Chirin as he calls him. He was born in Germany and raised in Germany, and in 1939, when Hitler rose to power, his family bolted. I mean, can you imagine having the foresight? Can you imagine doing that? Like, I wonder. I don't know if anybody would. I feel like nobody would do that in 2024. Anyway, but he bolted, and. Luckily, he was funny enough, but Ernst Lubitsch also was from Germany and caught him, and they connected. So he actually put him in a couple of his movies, and they had a kinship, and so they sort of like helped each other out. But yeah, he was a big theater actor over in Germany and came in 1933, basically moved right to the States and tried getting work. And here he is in 1940, and he's crushing it in this movie.
That last sequence where she's talking with him about would you not give her the cigarette box? And he's like, oh, no, 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 no.
Yeah.
I would never want to give him something. Or you said I would want to give it to my cousin because I would want to give him something insulting.
Yeah, it'd
They
be
go through
worth
the
the
whole
money to
thing, he gives
ruin
the
his
wallet.
Christmas. Yeah.
And then there's just the cut. There's just the cut to him opening the door to the office. You're getting the wallet.
Yeah.
Oh, man, it's just, God, that's so funny,
Hey,
dude. How do they
we haven't
get
talked-
away with it?
We haven't talked a lot about our two leads here, so let's go to the ending because I have to admit, you can fire up the buzzer. The ending didn't land for me as much as I wish it did. Fine.
Sure. Yeah.
I
Yeah.
thought, now maybe this is just me because I know the other couple movies. I thought they were going to go to the restaurant and then it was going to be them. They weren't going to tell each other and they were going to know, similar to, I guess that would be You Got Mail. Jimmy Stewart was kind of a dick to her. He knows and he's saying these
Yeah.
things and he's like breaking her heart. And it's like, bro, there has to be a better way of telling her that it's you without crushing her first. I feel like he's like crushing her first before he tells her. And the way he told, I don't know. And it was a very long scene. So I was starting to get bored of it. It is the only scene in the movie that I didn't love. I feel like they were like, okay, well, we got to have this scene now. Let's just do it in one scene. And I feel like it was too much. I feel like they should have either split it in half or done it differently. I feel like meaning half there, like he's like, oh, well, blah, blah, blah. And then they go and have the and then,
No,
I wanted it to be you.
My note from that is the resolve in the last scene is just fun. It's a bit mean, but it's fun. Like, because he's playing with her now. Because she says some mean
Is
stuff
he
to
playing
him.
with her? It didn't
Yeah,
seem
he's
very
totally-
playful.
He was totally playing with her.
John?
He's definitely toying with her. I do agree
That's a
with you
better
that he is halfway. I think a lot of us know the story, but so let's imagine we had never known the story before. Halfway through the movie, when you have the great scene outside the cafe between him and his friend, you do realize it's her. So like now we all know. So for the last half of the movie, or maybe a little bit more than half the movie, you are just kind of watching that play out. The audience is ahead of the characters,
Yeah.
or some of the characters. So I did also feel that last scene was a little bit like, there's no way we're going to learn anything new here. So I was a little surprised that they took so long to get to it. I did think that at some point I thought the reason they're taking so long is because there's going to be one more misdirect, one more fuck up, and he's going to have to be like, I'm sorry, I pushed it too far. This is the
Yeah,
truth.
me
And I
too,
thought there
me
was
too,
going to
me
be
too.
that kind of beat. And again, there were still some very funny lines in there about the, if
And
I had to
some
choose between what?
And his calves.
The calves, yeah, we got what he was talking about when he's building up the false man. Now, if I
Yeah.
were a girl and had to choose between a young good-for-nothing with plenty of hair and a good, solid, mature citizen, I'd pick Matthias Popkin every time. I mean, it is kind of fucked up that he's doing it, but I guess up until that point, he hadn't really cut her down to size a little bit. When he comes to her and she's sick in bed, he still kind of gets she kind of really gives it to him a little bit. She's just so direct. But yeah, Jeff, I think I agree with you. I didn't mind the joke at the I didn't mind the button of like isn't this cute? Now let's kiss.
Yeah.
But I did feel like that scene I'm a little surprised they put a scene that long, that it didn't get cut at all down.
Yeah.
I mean, bro, is it Christmas or Christmas Eve? It's Christmas Eve, right? And also, you're right in that we all knew already from the cafe. Also, how good is that letter when they're like, I saw you sitting with, who is this very attractive man? The type women usually fall for. I mean, come on, that's so good. But because of the conflict where the boss tries to commit suicide and then he goes from being fired to getting promoted to now having to run the shop and having to fire the other guy. It's like, it's a little distracting. So I can see why he didn't confess right away. He probably was sitting with it. But okay. That's all I wanted to say. But Dave, you thought it was playful and fun. You thought playful and it was sweet.
I wouldn't say it was kind of fun. It was like it was a payoff where she'd been giving him shit this whole time, and he knew, and all he was doing was trying to feed it to her bit by bit, and she just wasn't getting it. So he kept the game going for me.
Oh,
That's how I took
so
it.
you felt that. Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Cool. I felt
wanted
that
it
for
to-
some
I
reason.
thi-
Yeah.
I
was
just
watching it
wanted it
late
to
at
be
night.
a little more active. I thought that shouldn't do this. You shouldn't get inside a filmmaker's head and try to be like, oh, this is what should happen in the movie. But I kind of thought for one of the only times in the movie, we were going to like leave that shop and we were going to see them have one more beat of like miscommunication, wires crossed, he pushed it too far, and somehow outside in the snow in the town, I thought we were going to leave the shop and, you know, that was going to be where
Let's
everything
see all of
settled
these
down, just to make it
Americans
more
walk
active.
around Hungary.
Is that how one of the modern ones ends? Because I actually haven't seen You've Got Mail ever.
They meet
It
at the
ends in
restaurant
Central
at the end of
Park.
the.
Okay.
Is it Central Park?
Oh,
in
it's
the
Riverside Park.
tavern?
Riverside Park.
Okay.
No, and then
It's-
with the
and it's in the
dog.
park?
With the dog. And you hear him call the
remember
dog's
either.
name, and then you see the dog first. And then he walks out, and then she sits there, and he gives this look. He's like, Will? And then, you know, she's just like,
Very 90s.
and then she goes out, she's
that's
like,
cute.
I wanted it to be you. And then they kiss, yeah.
That's cute. I mean, it's still, if you've got the, you know, if you want to just relax and have fun and enjoy this tone we're talking about, the dialogue, I still think you're going to enjoy watching that last
my
scene.
God.
And I did like the button with the legs. I was kind of like, this
Yeah.
is so ridiculous.
And kudos to Margaret Sullivan. I mean, she gets top billing with Jimmy Stewart here, and she really
She
did
was
great.
so good.
Mm. You know,
Yeah,
they made
and-
this.
Wonderful.
They made this movie in 28 days.
Wow.
Yeah, because Jimmy Stewart was on a
I
weekly
believe it.
contract,
Yeah,
and they were
right.
trying
Yeah.
to squeeze him for every second.
Yeah.
John, say what you said about Jimmy Stewart before the show started.
He made 4 movies this year and 5 movies in 1939, 2 movies the following year in 1941, and then he went off the war for 5 years.
This motherfucker, first of all, how skinny is he? God damn it, he's so skinny.
105 pounds drenched, you know? Like,
Yeah.
And
that man
6'5",
is-
yeah.
Good Lord.
But yeah, he was getting paid weekly. So they're like, how many movies can we get out of this motherfucker? And then he said, fuck it, I'm going to war. I hope the studio system's dissolved when I come back.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know we haven't talked about him in this too much in this movie specifically, but my God, he is one of the goats. He is one of the
Yeah.
absolute greatest, dude. He can do, in a time period where acting was still fairly presentational or a lot presentational, depending on what movies you were in, he could somehow pull off that style. And I think if he did it today, I would buy it.
Yeah,
Like-
100%.
Like, there's some
I
way
really
it just
dug
works.
this performance. Like he
Oh,
really nailed
God,
this
he
one.
was so good. It's unbelievable. It's just, he's playing another everyman. Like he gets, Tom Hanks gets compared to him. Henry Fonda kind of has that quality too. But there is that, what you were talking about early on, Jeff, he has a bite to him that I don't think either of those guys have in the same way. Jimmy he has an aggressiveness that isn't threatening somehow. It's you feel safe when he does it, but he can go all the way with it. And
This is how
so much of this movie, he's being a dick.
Mm.
This is
And
how
it's just
he can really ball with John Wayne, not the best actor in the world, but somebody that would fucking throw some
Yeah.
fresh chickens at you if you fucked up.
They're acting, not debating. That's fine.
But he said
And
he
Liberty
said Jimmy
Valance
Stewart, he has
yeah.
maybe more respect for him than anybody else in Hollywood.
I mean, I fucking like every single performance. This man has never
Also-
missed for me.
And Ernst Lubitsch was a huge influence on Billy Wilder. And Billy Wilder, I think, had
Yeah.
something made for him that said, "What would Lubitsch do?"
Oh, nice.
Yeah, it was in his office behind his chair. He was on the wall behind him. And whenever they were confused what to do, him and
Did, you
writing
guys
partners.
rented this, right?
Yeah.
I did, yeah.
Yeah. Did you have that bad VHS logo at the beginning of it?
Yes.
Yeah.
Turner.
What?
The
Yeah.
Turner logo.
Yeah.
I'm like, wait, am I getting the VHS dub? Oh, I've just rented this.
They just wanted to let it out. There were so many, at this point, I found it charming. I wasn't mad at all. There were so many technical flaws in the actual print of this that
Oh,
was
yeah.
clearly, scanned. There were problems with sound, problems with the shakiness sometimes. Never any problems with the actual filmmaking, just the print I'm talking about. But my God, it lent itself to the experience so well. I really felt like I was watching a good
Yeah, it's
1940
funny,
rom-com.
They came and went, and it didn't take me out of it at all. Like it was just
Guys,
like, yep.
I am going to be heartbroken if it becomes a thing, because some people are starting to do it and some TVs are doing it automatically. Up-resing. If they're
Yeah.
going to try to like up-res and use AI
no.
to try to like make these
Oh, they'll
things look
clean it
like
too.
they were shot today,
Yeah.
God, I'm going to hate that so fucking much. Like
They've-
it's just
They've
gonna
tried to
be
do it to a
gross.
few of them. I think what was it, Alien, when it got released and then the re-released in the box set, the 4K box set. or it might have been Aliens, had all the film grain taken out.
Ugh.
And
All of it?
everyone's like, I want to
Why
send this
would you
back.
do that?
This is a piece of shit. Like it looks terrible.
We almost always add grain and emulsion into everything in post to make it look like that. Like there's very few times when you don't do it a little bit.
Yeah. You do it to add the natural grain, like to add the grain to the picture that you're compositing into. But yeah, it's like that grain is always there. So to have it not there is weird.
Anyway, I thought this was it was so charming with the way, of course, mono sound. It really felt that way. So 2 movies that came out this year that, we were now in the space of not everybody was doing black and white by any means. Like this is still a choice that directors were making to do some things black and white, some things not. Not the only 2 movies that we could talk about that were black and white, but I thought it was so cool that you have a movie in this year like Grapes of Wrath, where John Ford chose to try to go for that kind of docu-realism style. Actors were not wearing makeup, black and white, harsh, high key cinematography and natural lit cinematography outside on locations. And you have something like this that is kind of like a totally different feel, but it's still leaned into like that more old school style. Mm. And even then, I wonder if they were thinking like, I'm not sure when this play was written, Jeff, but I wonder even then they were thinking like this style and tone kind of harkens back to the 20s. The way people used to talk to each other and stuff. And we don't want to make it look like it's happening like brand new today with this kind of, I don't know. I just thought it worked. I thought everything about it worked. I'm so glad it wasn't in color.
Oh yeah, God. Thank God they didn't colorize this because like the image was perfect the way it was.
Sure. The play was actually 1937, so it wasn't too much long. It wasn't too much longer.
Okay, well, great. Well, fuck me then.
I must say I had a funny thought when in the scene where he keeps getting phone calls from his wife, and she's like asking for 1,000, like or whatever it is, whatever the currency was, I can't remember. But she starts basically asking for $1,000, and
well, what is the word they use? Is it just they use the Hungarian word?
But it's the currency. Yeah,
I would imagine.
But I was thinking about it. I was like, wow, that was a thing. You had to call your husband and get given money. And I was just like, nowadays you get a text message just like, hi, honey, I just spent $600 on plants, just an FYI. And like,
you don't get the text. You get your credit card notification.
Oh no, I get a text. I get a text to let me know the credit card notification's coming.
It would be fun, yeah. It's like, hey, honey, you need to send me $1,000. I just bought some plants.
But yeah, then I realized that like in America, like women couldn't even open their own bank account until 1974.
74?
Yeah, 1974. They got the right in the 60s, but some of the banks still wouldn't do it.
I had a bank account in like the 80s.
They had to pass another law to make them allow women to open their own bank accounts.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
God damn.
This says 1936 play, but it's the same shit. Anyway, what were you saying?
I'm just going to close on, I think we've talked about this with we tend to really respond very positively to these like very good person, earnest kind of stories, people trying to be good people. And this is, I'm going to throw, it's a very Capra-esque. It's in that space. And I guess it does just, every time we watch one of these, just make me kind of wonder, like, are we incapable of telling stories like this anymore? Like, do people not want to feel this good anymore about
no one's
humanity? I guess not, dude. But there's still something like we're sitting here watching these things. We have, one of our co-hosts was saying, I'm a little nervous to watch this. Like, there's still something that works about it that is compelling, dare I say. Like, it's not intrigue, it's not suspense, but there is something fascinating about waiting for people to be as good as you want them to be.
This movie
was like the trick of these.
Yeah, this movie was a 2024 palate cleanser.
Yeah.
Well, if we ever needed it, I guess that's what I'm saying. If we ever needed this kind of storytelling to come back,
this will clean it
we're
right
so
up.
fucking cynical.
I remember when Licorice Pizza came out and people wanted Boogie Nights or The Master or There'll Be Blood or something, and it's not as simple as this. So it is a little bit more open. The world is a little more open, but it's like, can't Paul just make his sweet young rom-com? Like, can he just fucking do it? Like, he did make Punch Drunk Love, so just give him the. But I feel like the good directors, they always talk about pushing themselves. It's like, what if they push themselves here into this space? Because there are a lot of people who make very basic indie movies that are probably feel good movies, and then they throw in some stuff. Maybe there's like a huge, but there's a suicide in here, so it's like I don't know, I don't know.
Because this is different. I guess I do just want to ask you guys if you would qualify this differently as well as I would. I know they make family-oriented pictures nowadays in television. There's channels dedicated to it. But this doesn't feel exclusively sentimental to me, and none of Capper's films do. Whereas like Hallmark, ABC Family, that kind of space tends to work in very much like they are just pulling heartstrings.
Oh yeah, they just wrap you up in a fluffy cushion, like
Yeah.
a fluffy cushion, and wreck you.
Yeah, there's something different about the way that these older movies feel, and I just haven't. I don't know. I just haven't seen one like this contemporarily in a long time. I'm sure it's out there. Film fans, let us know if you want to recommend something, because I really can't think of anything, and it just made me yearn a little bit for stories like this to be told.
If you've gone to a film festival and you've seen someone making one of these, let us know, because I tell you, like,
let us know, dude.
Yeah, if it's good, I'll promote the shit out of it. It's got to be good though.
And let us know how the ending is in the good old summertime, the musical adaptation of this play that takes place in Christmas in Budapest. All right,
we did it. Great
my
movie.
lights went out here. Turn the lights on. I gotta get my motion going for the lights. Oh, they're not coming back on. Okay.
Yep.
Worth the rental.
Wait,
Great movie.
Worth the rental.
I was going to say, is your booking time run out already? They just turn the lights out?
No, I have it for another 40 minutes. And nobody's walking in this time like they did last week. All right. We're ready to spin the random year generator.
Gun turrets from aliens sitting outside the door.
Like, let's just do this because we haven't been drinking enough here this episode. Let's go, people. While I get my fucking lights on. Nope, the lights are not coming on. I don't know what the hell. All right. That sound is us getting played off. So Dave can spin the random year generator so we can talk about what we're doing next week. Also, next week, John and I are going to be on the we're going to be recording an episode. We're going to be recording an episode of But a Song, a podcast that looks at movie musicals. Dave unfortunately cannot make it because he's seeing a musical. And the next week he can't do it because he's going to be teching a musical. But yeah, we're going to be talking about Oh Brother, Where Art Thou, the Coen Brothers film. So if you have anything to say about that or in the good old summertime, you let us know. All right, let's spin the random year generator so we can let them know what we're doing on this episode, our 253rd episode.
93.
I want to go to 1941. I want to go 1 year in the future.
Wow. Here we go.
I hope you win too. Yeah, let's do it.
2000.
Did you just flash?
Yeah.
Just 2001? Is that what we saw?
2003.
All right. That'll be fun.
2003.
Mm.
We're not going to sit here and Google movies. We're going to do what you've been watching. Give you our recommendations of the week, tell you what we've been watching. At the very end of this episode, after you listen to some more Dasein, we're going to tell you what we're doing next week. Dave, we'd like to start with you. You just mentioned you had a busy, hectic, chaotic week.
Yep.
Did you get to watch anything?
I squeezed in more Agatha. It's still fun.
Nice.
Yeah, it's like, apparently it's the cheapest show they've made too, so they're not relying more on the performances and stuff. This is not a normal Marvel show.
What a thought.
This is like good. But
I love that Dave's been outranking our buzzes by more than 2-1 recently.
what do you mean recently? Yeah, I think it's going to be fun. I think it's going to be a good, fun show. I just wish they just put them out in binge mode so we can just get through them in our own speed. Also,
but then you would not watch Disney Plus again for weeks.
Yeah.
They need to give you at least a weekly view, Dave.
Yeah, that's all they're trying to do is trying to stop people canceling their service and churning.
All of the shows that I'm watching right now, I feel the exact same fucking way.
Yeah. And like
is Agatha doing the same shit though, where they're doing like the crazy, like an episode ends with a cliffhanger, and then at the end of next week they're like, the cliffhanger didn't matter. I am so fucking sick of that. That's going to be a gripe, except I'm ruining it here. I can't say how many times I've seen a show, and for me, Only Murders was the fucking worst at this last year. But they'll have a cliffhanger, and then the next episode they'll be like, we're all good. Never mind. Let's just get into this episode.
Walking Dead
like,
got away with that for years. Walking Dead
24
invented that motherfucker. Yeah, 24 definitely invented that.
Martin Short a fucking heart attack, and then before the credits rolled on the next episode, he was already up and solving murders. That's how fucking shitty they were with his heart attack.
Spoilers,
in
folks.
season 3. Fuck that season.
Yeah, and we're still going through Prison Break, and also I've gone back and discovered, because I skipped it when it came out, Elementary, the series, the Sherlock series.
Sure.
It's kind of fun. It's one of those fun procedurals that, you know, if you can't sleep, you put it on and stuff.
Wait, who's Sherlock series?
It's Elementary. It was CBS did a Sherlock series
Elementary.
in the US.
Oh, excuse me. Elementary. Yeah.
Yeah,
I've been watching that.
Yeah, I'm digging it this time because when it came out the first time, it was around the same time Sherlock came out, and there was just no fucking contest. I was going straight for Sherlock.
True.
So yeah, but no, that's
great.
Yeah, I didn't get to anything big or new or, you know, that sort of thing this time around.
What's Benedict been up to? Did he have a movie come out recently?
Yeah.
Okay.
Here's that one with the imaginary friend kind of character that came from his trauma last year. Didn't it? That was like a smaller movie. What was the name of that thing?
That's
Anyway,
not
I
If,
don't
is
know.
it? No, that's the other one.
The Book of
Can't remember.
Clarence.
Yeah.
Poison.
Definitely
No,
not. Yeah,
nobody saw it.
All right, I did. We're coming into the Halloween season, so we have started our rewatch of Harry Potter's. Not that that's exclusively Halloween, but kind of made me want to
I don't
get
know.
into the holiday
Dolores
season
Umbridge
stuff.
is fucking terrifying.
Yeah, there's some magic there. There's a little bit. Anyway, so we're like halfway through 2 right now. I think it was technically at the beginning of last week, I started watching Fall of the House of Usher, one of the Mike Flanagan things.
That fucks
Did
with
you
your
guys
mind.
ever watch that?
Yeah.
Nah.
Yeah, that was fun, but it made me want to rewatch. So I am now rewatching The Haunting of Hill House because I still thought that was really good, and it's been a fun.
Oh my god,
rewatch.
that one fucking episode with that giant wanna.
I know. I'm literally. It's the one I'm watching tonight.
Yeah.
It's episode 6. So yeah. So the scary stuff. Some of it is. It's still really scary. Some of it's not quite as scary, but you know, good telling there. How about you, Jeff?
Yeah. Still watching a lot of TV, so you know, Bad Monkey, Slow Horses, Only Murders are our big ones going on right
Jeff,
now.
I watched all of season 3 of Slow Horses, and I forgot to mention it. I had fun.
So you know how it ends
awesome.
now?
3. I'm not up to 4.
No, but you know how season 3
yes.
ends, so you don't ask me was that the end of
Yes.
season 3?
I
So,
still am not
different-
even sure it's season 3, but I'm pretty sure I watched season 3.
Let's just say season 3 ends with a whole lot of people shooting each other.
Yeah, I
A lot
was
of
not
conflict.
expecting that from that show.
I was
didn't know
not either.
I didn't know
I
they
was
were
like-
going to do that kind of sequence.
Yeah,
But it was fun.
unnecessary. Yeah. And Angela had read the book Room, so we rewatched Room recently. That's
Brie
the Brie
Larson?
Larson film.
Oh, that's a fun.
I always
happy
forget.
watch.
I mean, yeah, I always forget they get out of the room before your halfway point, and then it doesn't get better after that. I always forget that that's part of the movie. No, I don't mean to say it like that. I mean better for them. It's a good movie. It's a good movie. You're just
God, that
buzzing
first
my
time he
phrasing.
sees the sky when the carpet that he's hiding under
Yeah.
in the back of the pickup truck like moves and he sees the sky. That's still what I
Oh,
think of when I
and
think of
he
that
like
movie.
trips out. Kudos to him for knowing what a shed is, because he's like, oh, there's a shed, and they're like, we're looking for a shed, and it's like, kid, you were in the rug. How did he? Oh, there's the lights. How did he know that he was in a shed? That's the only hole in the movie. Otherwise, I think it's pretty solid. Lenny Abramson. Okay, let's do it. Let's listen to some Dasein. We're going to tell you what movie we're doing from the year 2003 in 10 seconds. Let's do it.
Cool band name. All right.
That's what they say.
And we're back.
We're back.
And we're back. All right, people.
Thank
we
God
have
that had
made
the audio cut off it.
we made a big decision. This was not an easy decision to come by.
They never
So
are,
many
but
good
this one especially.
comedies so many good comedies that came
Yeah,
out this
dude.
year.
Old school,
Elf,
Elf, The Room.
Yeah. And then I
Lord of the
decided
Rings.
I don't want to laugh. They
Return
put
of
one a
the
train
King.
for 2.5 hours with no fucking bathroom. So
Yeah, that's right. So we
We're done
decided
laughing.
we're watching a 2-hour movie with subtitles that's available on Prime. If you have your subs up, if you got your Prime subs up, we are watching Inarrito's 21 Grams.
So it's a 2.5 hour
Happy
movie with
about
all the ads that Prime puts in it.
That's good. Cannot wait Not our first indie retail. It won't be our last. And also a miss for a lot of us. We haven't gotten to it. But we're going to set up the context, what's been going on in 2003. And then we're going to talk about our future conversation is going to be 21 grams. We hope you stay with us. Anything else you two knuckleheads want to say before we go?
No, wonderful. Shop around the corner. Watch it.
See ya.